Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have urged the world's richest countries to send life-saving coronavirus vaccines to poorer nations. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have joined the World Health Organization and Save the Children in an appeal to G20 leaders meeting this weekend. They've urged them to honor promises to get COVID-19 vaccines to low-income countries where just 3% of people have had a jab. In a two-page letter, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Save the Children International CEO Inger Ashing and other leading voices in global health called for the world's wealthiest countries to accelerate long-promised donations of vaccines. The coalition has demanded that the hold pharmaceutical companies have over-access to vaccines must be broken. Within the piece, they refer to access to the COVID-19 vaccine as being a fundamental human right. It comes ahead of the G20 summit this weekend, which sees leaders from the world's richest nations meeting in Rome. It is anticipated that environmental issues will be prominent on the agenda for G20, but the recovery from the pandemic is also likely to feature in discussions between world leaders. In their letter, the trio said, when the leaders of the world's wealthiest nations met at the G7 summit in June, they collectively announced that 1 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccines would be sent to low and middle-income countries to help vaccinate the world. Pharmaceutical companies have pledged almost the same. Yet, as several nations still don't even have enough vaccines for their own health workers, the world is left asking, where are the doses? Among countries represented at the G20, there are a handful with millions of surplus vaccines that are destined to be wasted once they expire, the letter said. The couple also add that every discarded dose of the vaccine should outrage us all. They said, each dose represents a real person, a mother, father, daughter, or son, who could have been protected. Each of us come from very different places, backgrounds, and life experiences, but we share a common goal, to tackle global inequity. The open document concludes with the following: there are many crises that you, the stewards of our planet, must grapple with this weekend: the climate emergency, the state of our global economy, a recommitment to multilateralism. Yet, in many ways, making headway on these priorities depends on whether we can beat this pandemic. Cooperation of historic proportion is the only solution. Lives literally depend on it. They pointed out that 7 billion doses of COVID vaccines have been administered globally, but COVAX, the initiative designed to help FAIR achieve global access to vaccines, had only received 11.5% of the promised 1.3 billion doses. Global targets have been set to vaccinate 40% of the population of every country by the end of 2021 and 70% by the mid-2022. Decisions made at the G20 Leaders Summit in Rome this weekend could make or break those targets. It comes after Meghan issued a letter to U.S. Congress leaders to advocate for paid leave for all parents. She drew on her status as a mother of two within the campaign piece and issued a call to ensure that millions of American families can access guaranteed paid leave. The letter was written on Sussex-headed paper and was signed off with Meghan's Duchess title. However, it emerged on Thursday that U.S. President Joe Biden has not included paid family leave in his $1.75 trillion £1.27 trillion spending plan. The letter the couple have penned alongside Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, which is published on the WHO website, is not the first instance that sees them campaigning for vaccine equity. Last month, Harry and Meghan appeared on stage in New York for the Global Citizen Live event, where the couple called on pharmaceutical companies to waive their intellectual property rights on COVID vaccines as the pandemic was becoming a human rights crisis. Prior to this, the Sussexes wrote an open letter in May, calling on the chief executives of pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer, Moderna and AstraZeneca and urging them to redouble their support for the UN-sponsored COVAX program. The COVAX scheme intends to establish fair access to COVID-19 vaccines for both poor and rich nations.